Good evening and welcome to the spring finale of Duck TV News. I'm Kate Houston.
And I'm Lily Gordon. Here are tonight's top stories. The March for Truth took place this past Saturday to support investigations into Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. election. Kylie DeVries has more.
Here at the federal courthouse is where the Eugene March for Truth started. Thousands of Americans from across the country joined together to march for truth and transparency from President Trump. Since the news of the Russian state-led hacking and information warfare played in the 2016 election, millions of Americans have questioned the Trump administration for possible corruption from business ties with Russia. Indivisible Eugene, a local group of activists fighting for change in the political system, organized the Eugene March. Volunteer Daniel Robertson explains the importance of marching.
Indivisible Eugene is part of a nationwide effort to resist the agenda of the Trump administration. And we're all here together to talk about truth. We need truth in terms of, just basic truth that statements we can trust from the President of the United States. They need to be true.
Over 300 people came out to march in support of political truth. Political activist Gian Machasik discusses her support for the march.
I think all of these issues are intrinsically connected. So when we say truth, it's not just, oh, show us your tax returns. It's more truth than we can even imagine.
For Duck TV News, I'm Kylie DeVries.
Thanks, Kylie. Nearly 130 U.S. cities held marches on Saturday to urge truth from the government.
President Schill recently signed a bill aimed to further protect survivors of sex-based and gender-based discrimination. The bill, named the Sexual and Gender-Based Harassment and Violence Complaint and Response Policy, was approved by the University Senate in April. The policy defines the process that employees at the university must follow when a student discloses sexual harassment, including sexual or gender-based violence. It builds upon and improves existing policies. For more information on this policy, visit policies.uoregon.edu.
According to a recently released survey, the homeless population in Lane County is up 5% from 2016. Ever since the 1990s, the Lane County Human Services Department conducts an annual point-in-time count to track homelessness in the county. While the count is not perfect, it indicates a need within the community for more homeless shelters and services.
Next month, Eugene Police will begin testing a software that collects racial information of people during traffic stops. 10 police officers at the Eugene Police Department have been selected to try out the software called SunGuard using tablet devices. In January, all Eugene police will begin using this data collection system. Officers will be required to determine the person's race using personal observation while conducting discretionary traffic stops. By collecting this information, the department will be able to determine if personal biases affect officers' choices. Chief of Eugene Police, Peter Kearns, released his statement at a press conference held last week.
We want in a profession like law enforcement is to be aware of our individual biases so that they don't affect our professional decision making.
The data gathered will be stored until the end of 2018, where a team of researchers at the Portland State University will then analyze it and release a report in 2019. And now we toss it to Deuce and Gabby for sports.
Welcome to Duck TV Sports. I'm Deuce Woodson.
And I'm Gabby Aranda. No confefe here, just Oregon sports news.
You already know we're going to put confefe somewhere in the spring finale.
Definitely, but here are today's top stories.
Well, there's always next year. Oregon softball has to wait another year to try to win the national title after losing to the Oklahoma Sooners on Sunday in the national semifinals. In the Women's College World Series, the Ducks lost to rival Washington Huskies in the opening round, but defeated the Baylor Bears and the Louisiana State Tigers on Saturday. After taking a 2-run lead against the Sooners, Oklahoma scored 4 unanswered runs in the 5th inning to advance to the national championship. And with softball making strides in the NCAA tournament, some could say they're in a league of their own. JC Shannoni has a story about one woman who truly is in a league of her own.
It's been 63 years since the dismantle of the All-American Girls Baseball League, and Lois Youngins still got it.
I'm trying not to throw it too hard.
The Professional Baseball League for Women began in 1943, following America's entry into World War II. Phil Wrigley, along with Branch Rickey and Paul Harper, founded the league, which gave women the opportunity to play ball.
We just lived to play, and I think we probably would have played for meal money. We would have played for free, actually.
Youngin's love for baseball began at a young age.
My mother would kick me out of the house and say, go out and play, go out and play. And so I played ball.
But the boys in her neighborhood gave her a choice.
You can play right field, or you could be a catcher. And I was smart enough to know that in elementary school, the only players that played in right field were the ones that couldn't do anything.
Once in high school, Youngin was recruited to play softball in Ashland, Ohio, where she gained the attention of the AAG Baseball League. She played catcher for the Kenosha Comets, the Fort Wayne Daisies, and the South Bend Blue Sox between 1951 and 1954, before the league collapsed. Youngin then went on to teach physical education at the University of Oregon.
Well, when I first came to Oregon in the fall of 1960, I told people that I had played baseball. And everybody said, oh, you're a softball player. So I quit talking about it. And then in 1992, which is how many years later, 32 years later, the film comes out.
The film, A League of Their Own, was based off the experiences of the women who played with Youngin. Although fictional, according to Youngin, the movie is about 75% accurate.
That 25% that's not accurate is related to the relationship of the manager to the players. No professional manager would have ever said, there's no crying in baseball to the whole world. He might have said that, but if he would have, he'd have taken you to the end of the dugout.
Last year, Youngin was inducted into the Order of the O because of her time teaching alongside Bill Bowerman and later becoming the first female track and field coach. Youngin continues to support Oregon athletics, holding season tickets for women's basketball and, of course, softball. JC Shannoni, Duck TV Sports.
Thanks, JC. She has an arm on her. Keep a lookout on Duck TV Sports social media for the longer form of the story.
As for track and field, the NCAA Outdoor Championship started today at historic Hayward Field. This season, the women aim to catch them all and achieve the highly acclaimed Triple Crown. They already have the NCAA title in cross country, indoor track and field, but winning the Outdoor Track and Field Championships would make them the very best that no one ever was. Literally. This would be the first time in a women's team to do this in NCAA history in one academic year. As for the men, they've won the last 2 NCAA titles, and the championships run through this Saturday. Oregon graduates aren't the only ones looking forward to the future. In baseball, junior pitcher David Peterson will find out his fate this upcoming Monday in the 2017 MLB Draft. He is the first player to receive collegiate baseball recognition since the sport returned to Oregon. As for basketball, Oregon has 3 players in the NBA Draft. Sophomore shooting guard Tyler Dorsey and junior forward Jordan Bell were both working out with the Los Angeles Lakers. According to the DraftExpress.com's mock draft, junior forward Dylan Brooks is set to be the 45th pick in the draft. The 2017 NBA Draft is scheduled for June 22nd, and the MLB Draft starts next week.
The Oklahoma Sooners killed yet another Duck dream of a national championship. The men's golf team is no longer defending reigning national champions after losing to the Sooners in the finals. Finishing second isn't too bad if you're going by elementary school rules. First is the worst and second is technically the best. But in all seriousness, second is the program's second best finish in the championship round. Not so bad for what was supposed to be a rebuild year.
Now we toss it to Armen Aradian, who previews next year's Pac-12 football in this week's Triple Threat.
Thanks, Gabby. We are 80 days away from the start of the 2017 college football season. Today, I'm going to take a look at 3 teams from the Pac-12 and show you how they'll be doing this coming season. Let's start it off with the Ducks. Under Mark Helfrich last year, Oregon was bad. Not just bad, really, really bad. Last year's teams had one of the worst defenses in the country. But see ya, Helfrich. Willie Taggart is now the head coach. Defense was a massive problem for the Ducks last season. In the spring game, though, the Duck defense showed major improvement under new D coordinator Jim Leavitt. Justin Herbert, Royce Freeman, and Darren Carrington also all returned, so I wouldn't worry too much, Duck fans. The Ducks were so bad last season that they can only get better next year. Hopefully. I'm thinking Oregon will be better, but they still won't return to championship form from a few years ago. They'll win about half their games or so. One of the teams that exposed the Ducks last year was the Washington Huskies. Oh, and if you don't remember, Washington also won the Pac-12 championship, made it to the college championship playoff against Alabama, and ended up losing. Heisman hopeful Jake Browning is back, and so is most of the offense. But the real question marks are on the other side of the ball. On defense, UW lost 5 of their starters, including almost their entire secondary. The Huskies have the best defense in the Pac-12 last year, and head coach Chris Peterson is going to have to find a way to keep his team's defense at that level. Offense will be just fine, so look for the Huskies to finish near the top of the Pac-12 North once again. The Pac-12 South has the one team, in my eyes, who could be close to unstoppable. That team will be the USC Trojans. USC went to the Rose Bowl last year and beat Penn State in one of the best Rose Bowl games ever. USC did lose talent on both sides of the ball in wideout Juju Smith-Schuster and Adoree Jackson, but the Trojans' chances hinge on incoming talent and quarterback play. USC has a bunch of incoming 5-star talent all over the depth chart. Sam Darnold is one of the best quarterbacks in the country and is my pick to win the Heisman Trophy. USC might just be good enough to beat out Washington in the Pac-12 and could be good enough to make a run to the national title game. Well, I just spit straight facts. That's all I've got for you football. Back to you, Gabby.
Thanks, Armin. Well, that's it for the term.
Yeah, for the class of 2017, we're done. And just like the musical styling of Post Malone, he'd say, congratulations.
We've worked so hard that we almost forgot how to vacation. But make sure to check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for all things Oregon athletics.
And shout out to Rebecca Force for showing us the dedication this industry takes.
R.
I'm Deuce Woodson.
And I'm Gabby Arenda. Lily Kate, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Deuce and Gabby. Saturday afternoon on the Memorial Quad, a group of students held a fundraising event for Dogs with Jobs. Reporter Dean Dowell has more.
What are fluffy, four-legged, and have far more qualifications for a job than I do? These dogs.
Dogs with a Job joined the Accessibility Student Union and Atlas Assistance Dogs to fundraise last Saturday. Handlers educated the public, while volunteers ran a silent auction to raise money for students and their service dogs. Organizer Leah Lawrence took a quick pause in her day to speak to us.
I got a comment. Someone told me, you don't need a service dog because you're not blind. That same day I said, you know what, I'm gonna start, I'm gonna take a stand now.
The group's donations help cover the cost of training, which ranges between $7,000 and $30,000. It depends on many factors, like task and ailment. However, they're not all obvious. Molly Nair stresses recognizing and validating those experiences.
It's really important to understand that service dogs are not just for people with visible disabilities. Obviously when people see me, they have no idea that anything is wrong with me unless I'm having a seizure.
Dogs with a Job aims to bury old myths by educating the community about owning a service dog. But remember,
if you wouldn't pet a wheelchair, don't pet a dog, a service dog. Because, even if a dog, like Cooper doesn't have a vest on right now, which means he's off duty, but sometimes my forgetful brain forgets the vest 98% of the time. But I forget the vest all the time, but that doesn't mean he's not working. So always ask to pet a dog.
For Duck TV News, this is Dean Dowell and the dogs.
Thanks, Dean. For more information about Dogs with a Job, check out their Facebook page.
This next year, construction will be happening along Franklin Boulevard as part of a city-approved redevelopment project. Work on a major connecting road between Eugene and Springfield on Franklin Boulevard is currently underway. According to the project site, the goal of the redevelopment is to transform the Highway 99 section into a more modern boulevard. These changes include transit-oriented development, pedestrian and bicycle facilities, and the addition of roundabouts to the Glenwood area to help consolidate traffic. Construction is expected to be completed by fall of 2018.
5 students at the University of Oregon were recognized this past week by UO Libraries for their research papers and theses at the Undergraduate Research Awards competition. Augustine Beard, Tate James, Michael McIntosh, Angela Rothman, and Claire Aubin used the collections and resources of UO Libraries to develop their research papers and theses with mentorship from faculty. This annual program is meant to encourage students and highlight the critical role of UO Libraries in undergraduate student success. Thank you for joining us on the season finale of Duck TV News. I want to say thank you to Duck TV for the wonderful opportunities I've been given over the past 4 years. Being a part of this news team has been the highlight of my college career, and I'm very grateful to Rebecca Force for all of her guidance, and I'm very excited to see where the program will go. Signing off for the last time for Duck TV News, I'm Kate Houston.
And I'm Lily Gordon. Have a great summer, Eugene.